Good morning, South Florida, and welcome to the breakfast at the Brooklyn Cafe TV.
Take a deep breath and a good whiff of that coffee brewing. Grab yourself some toast, a donut, or any breakfast as Dawn and Freddie get you up and ready for the rest of the day.
So call in at 888-565-1470 to share a tip of the day.
Or just to say good morning. Shake off your sleepies, buckle in, because it's showtime.
Welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe. And as you can see today, I am not Mr. Redman.
I see that.
I added a cam.
Ah, very
because
nice.
I was told by my genius son, he says to me, you're supposed to be in the production business and you have a red camera and you shouldn't. And I said to him, well, what do you want me to do? And he says, you know what to do. Bring in a cam and change it up. So what I did was I brought in a cam, high def cam, and I changed it up.
Very nice. Looking good.
So now I have no more red face. Or do I still have a red face?
Not at all. Looking good.
I look like you.
I don't know if that's such a good thing, but yes. I got to tell you something. The stress of this whole situation has given me another migraine. So if any of our viewers out there has a relief for a migraine, please let me know. I will even give you my personal cell phone number and not our 866 number, because these migraines of this stress, it's beyond even comprehension. I've not slept in 2 days. Whew. So for those of you that think this is to get up and do, it's been 2 days.
Hold it. Take it easy. Before we go there, I want to thank everybody yesterday for sharing out the shows, watching. We had fantastic morning and afternoon numbers. And this morning, we're going to talk a little bit about what current events are going on today. What grinds my gears, and I'm speaking for myself. And if any of you get angry at what I say, pick up your mug and have another sip of coffee or whatever else beverage you want to put in there. My co-host here probably is going to get angry at me a number of times today. But I've come to the conclusion that, you know what? I am like anybody else, and I am allowed to say what I feel. And I'm going to be brutally honest. So, welcome to the Brooklyn Cafe Morning Drive, which is a lot of fun. And I want to thank you guys for chiming in, hanging tough, being there. We're in a bad situation. We all know that. But there's a few things that I want to talk to my co-host and you at the same time. So if you write in to either the chat box or I'm doing whatever they call that. What do they call that?
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. What do you call that?
Our live stream?
Yeah, the live stream is one thing. You can write in there, but what's the other thing? When you're doing a showtime, whatever. What?
A comment? I don't know.
No, when you're doing shows.
Comment.
No, it'll come to me. But anyway, either way, write in. Tell me your opinion. I'll put it on the air, and we'll be fair to everybody and anybody. And it doesn't matter if it's negative or anything else. Just don't send stupid material, and we'll be good to go. But anyway, I wanted to start the day. Number one, we're congratulating you and everybody else who has followed the rules, even though you break the rules, who has followed the rules for at least 90% of the time and has stayed home in quarantine, driving everybody and themselves crazy. But I noticed that there are some things going on right now around us. Michigan comes to mind, where people stayed in their car and they had over 1,000 cars lined up in protest of the quarantine. And they were fighting and being angry and protesting in different pockets around the US, which is going to create a knee-jerk reaction in Washington, because unfortunately our president is very sensitive to the fact that if you say his hair blows east, he takes it off and puts it blowing west, and that creates a lot of problems. But anyway, one of the problems I wanted to ask you is that if we go back to opening things up, which is what everybody wants, everybody's thinking that you're going to go back to what it used to be, and that isn't going to be. But if you open things up and people aren't going to the stores, then what is it that we're doing?
We're giving people freedom. The
Okay, so you're going to go back.
the founding rights and liberties that our country was founded on was freedom, is freedom.
Okay.
And our freedoms, people feel, right or wrong, that they have been taken away. Whether it be done for the protection of themselves, people feel that they have the right to protect themselves as they choose, not to have our government mandate freedoms of press, freedom of the speech. It is what we have been founded for, it's what our Constitution stands for. Now, is this for the betterment of the country? Perhaps. Has it lowered the curve? Perhaps. However, there's a fine line that we walk as the United States of America, a country of freedoms, a country of democracy, and a country now of being told that people, you must stay home. Which is why the mandates, in my opinion, are coming down. You are mandated to wear a mask, however, it's highly recommended. They cannot make you do these things, however, it's highly recommended.
But do you know why they cannot make you do these things?
Last I heard, we have, rights and liberties in the United States of America.
That's right. So if they were to
for that.
if they were to mandate you that you must wear a mask, period, then you're going to flood the courts with legalities, and people are going to sue about their constitutional rights and everything else.
Right.
They're going to say that you're infringing on my rights. Okay. And if they tell you to stay home so that you can contain this, what is it called, mediation? Contain the virus, even though 31,000 people have died of this thing. Now they have a new number that's come out because there are people that have died of this, and they think, the key word here is think, they had some of it. They'll never know. You never know how many people died of this thing. But is it an infringement to tell people to stay home until the numbers come down? Don't I have the constitutional right for someone not to make me ill?
You have the choice to stay home.
Correct. But if you go out and you're sick, should that person be allowed constitutional right-wise to walk around?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you have the virus, you should be.
It doesn't mean it's
go
ethical, though. There's two things here. One is you're legal in your Constitution. The other is morally and ethically. Those are two different things.
I'm not talking about morally and ethically. That's a different conversation. I am asking if people in Michigan feel that they are being restrained and they want to no longer be sent home. Now remember, Michigan was a hotspot because they weren't following the rules to begin with. And then it became a hotspot and people started dying and people panicked and they tell you, okay, you gotta stay home. Like we're doing now, you gotta stay home. Forget about the moral side of this. What I'm asking is it legal for people to stay home? Does the government have a right to tell you to stay home?
No.
No. So the government has no rights to tell you to stay home?
No. Okay. If you're not doing anything illegal, you're not murdering, you're not robbing, you're not doing anything harmful or illegal, they have no right to say you can't get in your car and go somewhere.
Okay. Does the state of Florida have a right to tell you to stay home?
No.
Okay, that's twice. Now, does the federal government have to provide tests and stimulus money to get the economy going?
Do they have to? No.
If they want the country
to exist, then yes.
But hold on. This isn't being a little pregnant. If you're telling me that they don't have a right to restrain you, to keep the epidemic down, then they shouldn't have a right or an obligation to sustain people with stimulus checks and tests or the National Guard or anything.
But they have told people to stay home. They have told people to shut their business, and people are complying because citizens of the United States, people comply to our government. So if you're going to ask these things and people are going to comply and people are losing their jobs, then you have the responsibility to make good on it. It hits morals and ethics.
But why is it that the responsibility to get the economy going falls on the same people who don't have a right to tell you to stay home because they can't afford to heal you?
Because they've already done it. Do they have the right to make you stay home? No. But have they told people to stay home? Yes. Are people listening?
Advised.
They've advised and people are listening. So with that advisory and with that follow through, then they have an obligation for people not to kill themselves and commit suicide and starve to death.
Okay, here is where we differ. What's the obligation?
You've now stopped people from their ability to go to work and make money and put food on their table for their families, to keep a roof over their head, to be able to get in a car, to go to work. You've taken
And
that
what is the
away.
Okay, wait a minute. Oh, they've taken that away. Okay, so let's liberate that and taking it away. What's the consequence of that?
People may get ill.
Really? You're looking at the numbers that I'm looking at? We're looking at the same numbers.
No. Because
Okay.
I don't look at the numbers. Because what I've been told are things that I'm not going to put on air that relate to those numbers. So that is an off-air, personal opinion conversation. Are people dying? Absolutely. Is New York the epicenter and now Queens is the epicenter? Are people sick? Absolutely. Are there things that should have been done earlier before this happened? Absolutely. Did our government fail to act on it? In my opinion, yes, which led them to be in the soup, as you call it, which now we're chasing the rabbit, as you call it, to get out of the soup. If you're going to put someone in the soup, it is your responsibility to get them out of the soup. In our country, we live in a country of freedoms.
How in the world can you only blame an institution because they didn't move fast enough, because they don't have the resources to take care of everybody? You're asking an institution, you're asking the government to take care of every American, 380 million people. No government in the world can do that, including ours.
But
Nobody can do it.
But they've shut 380 million people down.
They didn't shut anything down. They asked you to stay home because they can't afford, they knew they didn't have enough respirators. He's fighting with people.
You tell me a better way.
What I'm telling you is the path of least resistance is to have less numbers, okay? They want to test 750,000 people a day in this country. There aren't that many kids, and you and I both know that.
Correct.
So that number is going to be very difficult to achieve.
Uh-huh.
The other thing is that people in this country, when you start to rebel because you don't like your circumstance, what's going to happen, that's going to catch fire. And people are going to panic. And what happens when people panic?
Chaos.
So now they're thinking about opening it up in 9 states. I saw the states this morning they're thinking about. Las Vegas, Nevada's mayor, she says, this is the most ridiculous thing. They have less than 0.5% of their population dying. Do you know why?
Why?
Because nobody lives in Las Vegas. Everybody travels into Las Vegas to spend money.
That's not true. People live in Las Vegas.
Okay, you got 100,000 people live in Las Vegas, and 1 million people come into the town and left town. And out of 100,000, maybe 1,000 die. There's your less than 1%. But that isn't what's going on in Vegas. Vegas is an entering town. It is a town where you come and you spend money on the gambling, or you spend money on the chickies, or you spend money on something. It's like Florida. Everybody who came into Florida made Florida a bad situation, right? Because we're one of those states that you come and you have a pina colada on the beach and then you go back up north. So the real number isn't the real number. The real number is how many people are dying. That's the real number. So if you got 31,000 deaths, you got 31. I don't care how we got there. My question is, are we going to fight the system that's the only system we have right now? We don't have another system except to quarantine, to buckle down. And we know that people are losing their jobs. They know this. Everybody knows this. But the bottom line here is it fair to pick apart the system that's trying to help all of us? Is it fair to say you shoulda, you coulda, you woulda? At this stage of the game, is that fair?
Is any of this fair? Last I checked, all you ever tell us is life's not fair. So none of this is fair. Is it fair that people are sick? No. Is it fair that people are dying? No. Is it fair that people have lost their jobs? No. Is it fair that children can't get educated because they don't go to school? No. Is it fair that people don't have food because they don't have money because they're not working? Is that fair? No. So what's fair? None of this is fair.
None of this is fair. Okay, so the bottom line is that we should go, just open up the door and let everybody else go back to work.
I didn't say that.
Is that what you said?
No.
Well,
But
I mean,
you asked me about legal. I told you about ethics, and you don't want to address the ethics side of it. But why are we having this conversation? This is so not the conversations we have. But I can tell you what this has. I can tell you what this has done. This has increased panic. This has increased fear. And this has perpetrated a whole lot of different emotions on a lot of levels. Have people come together closer? Yes. Has the community come together? Yes. Are people afraid to leave their houses? Some, yeah. Are they afraid to go back to work? Yeah. 2 o'clock this morning, my phone rang. It was my father-in-law's nursing home. What's the first thing do you think when your phone rings at 2:30 in the morning from your father-in-law's nursing home? Something. He's got 105 or something, right? Until you get the information out that he fell and he's fine and they had to do what they had to do. It was just an informative phone call. Because of the state that we're in, when you got those phone calls about your parents, you knew how you felt. Getting those phone calls now in the state that we're in, because the way nursing homes are being run, they're being run the best they possibly can. But is there a lot of things that are fair and unfair on that side? Yeah. It's all over the news. So that phone call at 2:30, the reason I have not been back to sleep, and he's fine. But to get over that initial, what are they going to tell you on the other side of that phone? Is he in the ER? Does he have a fever? And what does that mean? That wasn't even it. So there's a lot of stuff going on that's not fair in the world right now.
Yes, but I'm not talking about individual cases. I'm not talking about the virus. I'm talking about the mechanism. I'm talking about the delivery. I'm talking about
that fear in other people.
But what I'm talking about is, I was at WNN yesterday because I had to do Sarah Spiritual and I had to move some cameras and stuff around. And I heard a gentleman on the radio from 4 to 5 bashing about tests. All of a sudden, everybody wants to have everybody tested, good, bad, or indifferent, because once you test everybody, then you know where you are. Now, you and I both know, how are you going to test everybody? There aren't enough tests.
Right. Sure.
Okay. So those that don't get tested are going to feel left out. Should first responders be tested first?
Yeah.
And therein lies the problem.
But what constitutes a first responder?
Well, let's start with the ones that are in the hospitals, the doctors, the nurses. Let's start there. Let's start with EMS workers, the police officers, and firemen. Let's go there. And then the trickle-down theory is people that are dealing daily with people. You got the grocery stores, employees from Publix. You got the food industry. You got people that are going out and doing what they need to do to make things function. Okay? I think that people that are bringing the news, like us and stuff, will be last on the line. I think we should be last on the line because we're not in contact with anybody. We can't get our job done unless we contact people by phone or we get the news or whatever. But again, front responders are in front of people, those first responders. I think, and you can see right now, we're losing nurses left and right. We're losing doctors left and right over this thing. Okay, and we're not thinking, because we should be taking care of those people more than anybody right now. Forget about the back of us, the front of us right now is in the fire. But what grinds my gears is hearing the negative talk that's creating the panic. And my sister called me this morning. She's not even working in New York, and now she's frustrated because now she wants to go back to work. She feels that she's not doing enough. Really? And I said to her, Miriam, what is it you're going to do? You're not going to be Superwoman. You're not going to be able to handle this by yourself. Frankie, you know Frankie, is obligated to keep those stores open, those Trader Joe's. He has to be there at 6 o'clock every morning, and leaves at 12 o'clock every night, and he has to be there. And Frankie doesn't have any protective gear. I mean, think about that. How many people do you see in Publix and everything wearing protective gear? None.
But they should be.
That's right, they should be. You know, the bottom line is they should be. Look at this, my series going crazy. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that because, you know, and it isn't to take away from the feeling good. I want people to feel good. But I want them to also understand that there ain't nobody giving you a tap in the back. Ain't nobody, you know, in baseball, they tap the back of the leg. Nobody's saying good job. Well, I'm here to say good job. You guys doing a great job. We got to keep it up. And you got to tell your neighbors, the ones that are going more crazy, that you got to slow your mind down and come to the realization that we are in the soup together. We are all in this together, because what affects you affects your family, affects me, affects everybody around us. Everybody. And unless we can control our emotions during this tough time, you're not going to think clearly. Are they going to open it up? I'm telling you, come May 1st, they have to. Unless you do what I said before, which is to shut the country down. And they're not going to do that. There's too much money in the game. You're talking about crashing the economies of countries that depend on us too. The food industry in this country is going to be turned over for years. There's a lot of turnover. We're going to have to play some smarter hands and be smarter. But that's not the point. The point is, you're doing a good job. Keep it up. Keep the faith. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. We will mourn the dead because there's going to be more deaths. You do realize that, right, Dawn? So we're going to mourn the dead. We're going to take care, and we're going to bite our lack of preparedness, or whatever the hell it was that everybody thinks we should have. That's coming as well. But I just want to say, you guys are doing a great job. Parents with their kids at home, you know something, in Denmark, they opened it up yesterday, and they have the kids going to school, little children, pre-kindergarten and kindergarten kids going back to school. Germany and Italy opened up their stores, and they are going to open up more next week. Now, do you agree with that? Open up the kids and send them to school.
It's an issue. My daughter's a teacher. We've been talking about it. I don't know what they're going to do.
How does she feel? And how does she feel?
However, let's clarify something. People have been on quarantine now. You want to know what grinds my gears? Is the way that this was done. But I don't want to get into that, because you and I are going to have a fight, and I don't want to have a fight with you on air, okay? But this has been more than 2 weeks. This has been since the middle of March, and slowly we have been put on quarantine. So now we're on 4 weeks. We're going on 6 weeks. If people had quarantined and are under quarantine, that means our cases should not be rising, which means we should be able to open schools up. I don't know. But can you put 40 kids in a classroom? Absolutely not. That's not social distancing. But that means schools will never open up. So at some point, modifications are going to have to be made, because all schools have at least 25, if you're lucky, or 40 kids in a classroom, which means they are not 6 feet apart. So that means you're either shutting down our school system, and you're shutting down the airports, and you're shutting down trains, and you're shutting down mass transportation, or you're going to open it up and let the world heal. You can't be a little pregnant, as you say. You can't tell me you can't be a little pregnant and then say, you got to open these things up. But you do, because kids have a right to education. They have a right to learn. That is one of our constitutional rights in this country, that our children go to school and they be educated. So what do? And don't they have a right to come back to school and get their things? Don't they have
Hold
that
on,
human
hold on,
right? What?
but isn't your daughter educating them via the computer?
Yes, but is it the same? No, it's not the
But
same.
nobody's saying the same. Now, in Denmark, what they did was they have an average of 30 kids per class. And they have a morning session and they have an afternoon session. And they cut it down to 15 kids per class separated. Now, children, the younger they are, very difficult to get them not to touch one another. That has been the challenge. That is what the
Yes.
teachers are crying about, because younger children touch. The older kids, you can break it up. You may have to go to, 8 o'clock classes for high schoolers just to break the clock up. You may have to do that. You may have to break
Who's
down.
gonna teach them? What teacher is going to teach a 12-hour day on what
That's
on the
not,
salary?
that's not what you see, but now you are introducing other problems. The
Well,
problem here is that we're going to have
the
the teachers
teacher to
to
go in
work.
at 6 in the morning
Uh-huh.
and stay till 8 o'clock at night. One
Well, the
teacher.
teacher
That's not.
one teacher can work from 9 to 3, and the second teacher can work from 1 to 4, and the third teacher can work from 5 to 8.
But there's not that
And
many
you take
teachers to keep numbers like that.
Well, I understand that. Well, that's part of the system, is that we're going to need more teachers. Dawn, the last I saw, I may be completely out of my mind. My son called me yesterday. He got a stimulus. The last I saw, they pumped in trillions of dollars into this deal. Trillions.
Oh, I
So
got to
you're
tell
going
you
to have
something
to.
about the stimulus. I got to tell you something about the stimulus. People who got their stimulus are those that have gotten refunds previously. If you qualify under the numbers that you're making, whatever that threshold is, and I don't want to misspeak, of I think 75 or 79 or 149 as a joint file. If you did not get your stimulus check, you may have owed taxes. If you owe taxes, there's a special link you need to go on to and fill that out, because that means the government has no idea where to send your tax refund to or the stimulus money to. So if you did not get money for the stimulus and you think you qualify, but you say you were a 1099 person and you didn't get a refund, but you had to pay your taxes out, you have to go on this link and fill it out with the IRS. So, and they need to accept it to know that if you qualify for a stimulus, they have a way now to find you. Otherwise, they can't find you because they don't know where your bank account is.
What if you went in and you're doing a payment plan that you pay the government every month?
You're paying them. They're not paying you.
So they still don't have your information.
Correct.
And what is the link? Is that the irs.gov?
I will find the link. It's irs.gov. We had to do this for my son, and that's how I know that, because he never got a refund because he works a little jobs here and there. He's 1099 from some law firms. He has to pay yearly. The government did not know how to find him, nor did I think he made enough money, but that's a whole nother side of it. But they don't know how to find your bank account to put the money in it. So there's a special link that you need to go to.
Okay. Well, let's get that up for the midday show so that we can. I am going to be in that category.
That's what I'm telling you.
I pay. I don't get refunds. So there's no way in the world they're going to know me. And I
Exactly.
went in and they said, we don't have enough information on you, is what they said. So maybe that's what they meant. But nobody knows what that means.
That's why it's your accountants to figure these things out.
Yeah. My accounting firm right now is shut down. There is nobody working there. But that's good point. So we'll try to get that up by the midday show. But the bottom line here is, again, I didn't think I was going to qualify for that kind of money anyway.
You may not,
The
but
other
there
thing
are
I
people
wanted,
that do.
the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was, I heard yesterday, and again, we got to get Ian back on the phone, or somebody back on the phone, that the money that was set up for the SBA loans, that PPP, EEGA, whatever it is, just ran out.
That was the bridge loan that ran out.
The bridge loan, so they're not processing those deals.
There were 3 loans. One is the PPP, One is the grant, and then there was the Florida Bridge Loan, and the Florida Bridge Loan maxed out at 1,000 small businesses, so the media says, and they've run out of money. So is that fair? You want to talk about fair? There's a whole lot of things that aren't fair in this world.
Well, we need to bring some people who can shed some light on it.
Well, let's shed some light. Let's go to commercial break. I got to recharge my light. It's not lasting very long. When we come back, we can address the brighter side of the situation because there's got to be one. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing what we do. So stay tuned. Teddy, thank you for doing what you do, and we'll be right back. If a tree falls in the woods and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Have you ever felt that your voice goes unheard? And you think that you can make a difference if only someone would listen? It's time for women in business to have a place to step into your power, a platform to embrace your hopes, dreams, and your visions, a voice to heal and restore. Your voice can make a difference. We have a platform you deserve to share your story and let your voice be heard. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself the chance to be heard and shine bright. Contact New Dawn Media by texting CAFE to 55312. That's CAFE to 55312. Or call us at 866-224-5422. Your voice can make a difference.
Does your business MobiPop? A new way to grow your business. Using a simple keyword, drive customers right to you with just a click. Customers will receive your personalized digital business card within seconds with all your contact information in one place, including a gallery of photos, videos, and clear call to action that drives sales. Promote your products and services or share a hot new listing with custom event pages and RSVP form, boosting qualified leads. Special offers and promotions are directly sent to your potential customers' phones with text campaigns, increasing foot traffic and creating a loyal following. Let MobiPop drive your marketing campaign. Focus on your business. Let MobiPop focus on growing it.
The way you live your life says a lot about you. The way you choose to commemorate your lifetime can say even more. It's a single event that speaks volumes. So how do you celebrate a life? Dignity Memorial providers believe that your memorial service should be as unique as you are, reflecting your personality and your passions. It should be a perfectly tailored send-off, a fitting tribute for family and friends to celebrate the person they love. We're professionals at catering to your every need, right down to the catering. In fact, no detail is too small. So when it comes time for a fitting tribute, we'll see that your final wishes are beautifully fulfilled. It's what Dignity Memorial providers are known for. And why you should rely on us to see that your life is well celebrated. The celebration of a lifetime begins here.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
And you're back.
And I am back. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm answering some people that are texting me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
What are they
called a
telling
watch
you?
party, Dawn. A watch party, I tell you, a watch party.
And they're watching. I got to tell you, I do miss our studio. I miss people there. I miss the concerts. I miss our crew.
Why do you miss so much things? What's wrong with you?
I miss them all. I got to tell you, it's not the same.
It's all gonna come back. It's all
Yeah?
gonna come back. Yeah, absolutely.
Your mouth to God's ears, baby. But
It's
tomorrow
gonna
is
be
pancakes and pajamas. So hoping I'm going to be there because Fridays are always a full day for us. Today I got to go back in anyway and work on helping Teddy produce our Kids in Capes, the end of that show from Monday, and pancakes and pajamas and boleros tomorrow. Have some
I still
fun.
don't know how you're gonna. I don't know how you're gonna pull that off. Boleros are she's gonna sing.
Yes.
Oh, so she's gonna sing while you're cooking pancakes.
No, I'm just going to eat pancakes. I don't cook.
Oh, but she was cooking the pancakes while she sang the songs.
Yes, but that wasn't part of the deal. The deal isn't that I got to cook them. The deal is just that I got to eat them. So I just got to order them in time to get them in time for showtime. And I think we should have a virtual pancake party. Maybe you'll order them to your house. I don't know what you're going to do, but we'll see.
No, I'm gonna make them.
Okay. So you're going to be
I'm not
home
gonna
tomorrow.
Well, where else am I gonna make them, Dawn?
I don't know.
If
I'm just
making
wondering
pancakes,
when we get to go back to the studio. That's all. I'm just wondering when we get to open up and do what we do, the way we do it. Because like everybody else, we go and we do it, but it definitely takes its toll. At least on me, maybe not on you. It seems that you're perfectly fine. Me, not so much. It has certainly taken its toll on me. But we do what we do, and we have to keep going and pushing and sharing it forward. And I got to go get the rum tomorrow because last I checked, we're going to have a case of rum sitting at our door. So you can stay put. I'm going to go get some rum. And I got to pick up my CBD from your CBD store. I got to get the cream. I got to get the bath bombs. I just got to get to the studio somehow.
I know that the studio is going to be there tomorrow. It's going to be the next day. It's going to be the day after. I know it's going to be there. And I think that right now, with all the different technological stuff, now you saw yesterday that the microphones weren't working, right? Well, that had to be rebooted. We don't know what the outcome of having all this equipment lit up 24/7 is going to be like. So we're watching that. We had a conversation about that yesterday. Some things that we have to do to improve. So it's not as simple as you think will make it sound about just going to studio. There are some things behind it that have to be done. But that not being said, our mental aspect of what we're doing, we have to stay above the waterline.
So on our 12 o'clock show today, I've got Dr. J's joining us.
When was the last time we saw Dr. J?
It's been a while. Been a couple months.
That's going to be interesting. And we can talk
So
about the...
yeah.
Do you remember the lady, I can't remember her name, that had the shoes for purses?
Uh-huh.
What was her name? Amir?
Okay.
You don't remember either. She had the purse and there were shoes. Pam Polani wanted to buy one. They were like $10,000 a shoe.
Yep.
Well, I spoke to her last night because you know what she does for a living?
What?
The shoes were a side hustle. She is a counselor. She's a mental anguish counselor.
Okay.
And she has been bombarded with so much work during the last 4 or 5 weeks on this thing that she's up from 6 in the morning all the way to 4 o'clock in the morning because she deals with China and Japan and everything else. And she's a counselor. She's a mental health counselor. And I know that we talked about this, and I wanted to ask her about what was going on in the mental health field, being that so many people are stressed out and everything else. And she was telling me that there's so many new cases piled up on her now that she needs a mental day.
I'm sure.
Of all the things that we'll be saying. So she's being affected by others who are being affected.
Everyone's being affected by others. You know what? That's who we are. Nobody stands alone in anything at all.
So the best thing to do is to try to help one another get through this thing? Is
Well,
that
in
what you're
my
telling
world,
me? That
I don't know about your half-empty world, but in my world, that's what we do is we come together as community and we pull together and we help and we ask for help and we do what we got to do.
And what
But
do
you
you do
gotta
with
ask for
people who
help.
can't? What do you do with people who don't ask for help?
You got to ask for help. There is no way around it. And if the one person you ask for help doesn't help, you got to find somebody else because you cannot do this alone. There are far too many tears and far too much going on to do this alone. You know?
You just got to find a way of making it work.
And that's what you do. You just got to keep going, right?
That's what you got to do. Jojo says good morning.
Good morning, Jojo.
To Jojo. It's nice to see that Jojo is in the house.
And tomorrow we've got Florida Love Show, and I got to talk to Ken, but he'll be joining us on our 12 o'clock hour. So got to get all that information out, and that show is a spectacular show.
You're going to, also, we have Momentum Mindset tomorrow, don't we?
Yes, we do. We got that show coming at 6 o'clock. A lot of shows. Everyone's still doing their production. Becky and Boca's got her show tonight, and she is talking to a gentleman who had the coronavirus and everything he went through. It has been pre-recorded. So that will be airing tonight also.
Yes, and we have Ask the Experts with Steve going on before her as well. But it's an interesting concept of what's going on digitally and marketingly, and people are becoming very creative with what they do. You know, we can also make didn't we have a game or a contest that we were gonna give away a free roll of violet toilet paper?
Lavender toilet paper, yes.
What was the question? Do you remember?
I've lost the game, but no, I want to do some games on our show. So I try and download some games and have some fun.
It's funny. Somebody texted me yesterday saying, "Why is it every time I tune in, you guys are talking about liquor?" And I says, "We don't always talk about liquor.
Yeah, we pretty much
just
do
that
talk about liquor. Because you know what?
Oh,
That's
we're
what
talking
people are
about-
using now to get through this.
Oh, we talk about the rum.
Yeah, the Gubba rum comes in silver rum and silver and gold, coconut and vanilla. So I'm waiting to get that tomorrow, actually. I hope tomorrow, maybe early next week.
I think next week. I think what he sent was the banner.
So we are
Send
now
the
in the
banner.
rum business. And put that going forward as well.
That is correct. All right, good stuff. So did you hear anything latest in the news? You got that information out about, it's a good piece too. If you've been paying taxes, if you've been paying no refund and they don't know who you are, you're not gonna get a check. So you have to fill out this section of the IRS. Did you hear anything else that people haven't spoken about?
Oh, I've heard a lot, but we're not going to share that on air either.
Why?
Because it's not all pink in the middle, as you say. This is not a time that people are having an easy time with, is all I can tell you. So all of this stuff and trying to do what we do separately is not the same as what we do in studio. And I can say it over and over again. This is 3 weeks now we have done this. And again, you're doing great at it. Me, it has taken a toll on me that you cannot even venture to say. So do I understand what people are going through, not going to work and not being able to do what they do? 100%. Because not everyone is as patient and rule abiding as you are. Just saying. Some of us are not. Some of us want to push and go and fight this fight. And we can't sit and be. You fight it patiently. I don't fight this so patiently. But what it does, it takes a toll out of my brain that's going to last until tomorrow now.
But how are you going to fight when there's no fight? How are you going to go? What are you going to do? You're going to go to the studio and what? Sit there in the dark? What are you going to do?
No, I turned on the lights yesterday.
You can't bring anybody there.
But no one's telling us we can't be there.
No, I'm not going to put myself in harm's way. where I don't know who's going to show up there, where they've been, and everything else. That's ridiculous. That's just a concoction to not only get sick, but to make others sick. I mean, how are you going to relate with that
All right, so let me
situation?
ask you this. So at what point do you go back to work?
It just ain't now.
When is it
Wait a
then?
minute. I haven't stopped working. If anything, I wish I could take a nap because I was up since 2 o'clock in the morning editing film, getting shows ready, things to get to the platforms. I'm not saying that I stopped working. I just
So
am
at what
working
point
at
do you
the
go back to the studio? At what point do you feel, because the government tells you, all right, April 30th, we're good. Does that mean May 1st you go back to studio? Or do you kind of stay home for another month?
First of all, honey, let me tell you something. The federal government doesn't tell us what to do. They suggest. Okay, at the Beasley, let's put the theater to the left here. At the Beasley radio station, there is a studio there, and it is open 24 hours because the radio stations do not shut down. Beasley also made me sign an authorization, a release form, that I can do whatever I want to do in there, and there are 12 chairs, and I have closed that down. I have elected to close that down. So let's back up your statement. Ain't nobody telling me that I can't. I am not doing it because I don't know where people have been. I don't know where some of our hosts have been, and if they're as rebellious as you, it just worries me even more. So once the window of having sickness lowers itself, I think this is our second week, if not the third, and people that we know in the business, it hasn't been the fourth. It's been 3. You've only been home twice, 2 weeks. That's all you've been.
This is the third week.
Okay. All right. So now we take a survey to find out people that we deal with, where they're at, how they're feeling. Linda Summers thought she had the virus. Remember that she couldn't get tested, and poor Linda has an immune system that is really compromised. She has all sorts of issues from prior things going on. She should have been one of the first ones to be tested just because of her immune system. She was tested and it came back allegedly negative. Okay, there's a good example. You're going to open up the studio and you're going to have somebody who might be, not might be, or you're going to wait the cooling off period to see where they are 2 weeks from now. If they're not sick, then you have an open invitation, you have an open window.
I didn't say we were opening up the studio to guests.
Okay, so
I didn't say
then
we
what
were
are you going to
opening
open up? Well, what are you opening it up to?
Have this
If
conversation.
people,
Okay.
well, if people want to participate in what we do, there's a number of ways of doing it. Whether it's on the
Correct.
radio, off the radio, on social media. If people want to bring, and the other thing that I'm afraid of is that I don't want people to panic, and then they're going to show up at the studio, and then you're not going to let them in because we're not going to do that right now. So when do you think it's a safe time to open up the studio? When do you think we're in the media business where people come in and they sit in a room and they do media? Is that business ever going to come back?
Yeah.
Okay. When do you think is a fair amount of time? When do you think the cooling off period should be?
I think you bring it back slowly. I think you and I can certainly be in the studio. You have been home for 3 weeks. I have been home for 3 weeks. The only place I go is to the studio, where I go by myself. Nobody else is there. Yesterday, Jen was there. She sat in one room at the other side of our studio, and then she sat 7 feet away from me. There was absolutely no contact. So when we open this up, that network studio can have one host at a time. Eventually we grow to 2, and we go to social distancing of 6 feet apart. We've got very large tables, and they can sit at one end. Can they sit next to each other? Probably not. However, I know Jay and Janine have been in quarantine for 4 weeks. Jay has for sure. I know they aren't going anywhere. So do they have a right to come in and sit next to each other, and you and I sit in another room and produce in a couple weeks? Yeah. Because at what point do you not open up the world again? If everyone has been in quarantine for 4 weeks, whether they were sick or not, if they are over it, it is time to get back to work.
And how do you know 4 weeks is enough time?
Okay, you can stay home forever then.
That's not what I'm asking you. Why can't you just answer a question? How do you know 4 weeks is enough time?
You don't know what is enough time. Theoretically, 2 weeks was enough time.
But that
But if
was
people keep
wrong.
going to the grocery store and people keep going to Target and people keep going to Walmart and not protected, that means, based on your theory, nothing will ever open up again because people are continuing to be exposed.
That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, no, I'm not. You're putting words in my mouth. That's not what you're painting a picture that I'm boom and gloom and you're get up and fight with the sword. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that,
100%.
there is a fine line between being cautious and being reckless. And I don't want to be responsible for people doing something and it turning out to being reckless. That's all.
I'm not either.
You know, people-
100%.
People can't control themselves. Is the problem. So when you open up a gamut and they do what they think they should do, because everybody thinks they should do it, I don't want to be the one responsible to say they did this because I said it was okay. I'm saying it's not okay. I'm saying for you to use your head and you should know what your surrounding circumstances are. The more circumstances you are, the more quarantine you should take. You still
there you have
disagree
it.
with me?
Nope,
You
not
still
at all.
disagree with me?
I am not
You do.
disagreeing with you at all. You do what you feel you got to do. Everyone's got to do what they feel is right in their heart. That's all. And am I
But we all
opening the
gotta-
studio for everybody? Absolutely not. Is our crew going to stay home for now? Absolutely, until they feel comfortable. Our kids that are working at Publix, they can't come back for a long time. Our crew that's home quarantined by themselves, can they come back
that's a
soon?
good point. What are you going to do with the kids that work that we have that work at Publix?
Can't come back yet. But if
But
Mia,
when are
who's
you
been home
going
by
to-
herself with her, but if Mia's been home by herself with her dog and hasn't gone anywhere for 4 weeks, can she come back in and sit in a room and produce? Yeah, at some point, yeah, sooner than the kids that are at Publix. It's got to be on an individual basis. That's what running a business is all about.
Okay,
But
interesting.
you and I do not agree on this point, which is why we have this conversation. But that's okay. We can agree to disagree, and we do what we do. Our shows are being brought in remotely, or everyone's being brought in remotely, and we do what we got to do. We got a show today at 2:30. We got Jenny Azulai. She's doing her show. She's going to be Moxie. I guess you're going to be producing that, and Teddy's going to be helping me work on Kids and Capes today after 3.
Okay, sounds good to me. But that was a fun sparring session.
More to come. More to come. And back to my original statement. If anyone knows any way to get rid of a migraine, please let me know, because I'm ready for desperate measures at this point. So gotta go. Gotta keep going though, right? Fighting the fight.
That's what it's all about. It's all good. It's all good. We'll see you guys at 12 o'clock.
Have a great morning. Bye-bye.
Don't be late.
Well, that's about it for today. Even though the show is over, the Brooklyn Cafe is always open for business. You're invited to join the fun every day from 12 to 2. If you missed some of the laughs from today, Dawn and Freddie S will bring more good cheer next time. You can follow the Brooklyn Cafe on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe TV to rewatch every minute of the show. Well, see you next time.